In 2026, the average British household isn't going broke because of a luxury holiday in the Maldives or a designer handbag bought on a whim. That is not where the money goes. The truth is quieter than that, and it is far more uncomfortable. The average British household is bleeding out slowly through what I call invisible luxuries. These are the daily habits we have been conditioned to see as completely normal. Nobody flinches at them, nobody questions them, and that, precisely, is the problem. Picture a pint glass with a hairline crack running down one side. You pour it, you set it on the table, and it looks full. But every few seconds, a single drop escapes onto the wood. You never see it fall. And by the end of the evening, a third of your pint has vanished, and you would swear on your life you never spilled a drop. That is your household budget, not one dramatic gulp. 1,000 invisible drops. Wealthy Britons have learned to do something the rest of us have not. They perform a manual override. They interrupt the automatic habit. They ask one cold question. Am I paying for quality here, or am I paying for a name? And on 5 specific items, the answer comes back the same every single time. Let me show you the 5 leaks they have already sealed. Number 1. The premium fuel at the top of the pump. You pull into a Shell or a BP, and there it sits, glowing above the ordinary unleaded, the super unleaded, 99 octane, the good stuff. The bottle green promise that your engine, somehow, deserves better, so you press it, because you are not the sort of person who gives their car the cheap stuff. Here is the mathematics nobody at the forecourt wants you to run. Super unleaded now costs around 16 pence a litre more than standard unleaded. On a full tank, that is £5 to £9, every single fill. Stretched across a year, that is somewhere between £250 and £350, handed over for a bigger octane number. And for 95% of British family cars, the ordinary petrol engines built to run happily on 95 octane, independent testing shows the economy gain is somewhere between 1 and 2%. You would need a 7% improvement just to break even. So on any quiet morning, on the school run, in the supermarket car park, you are not buying performance. You are pouring £5 of that leaking pint straight onto the forecourt floor. Real wealth reads the handbook, sees the words 95 octane, and drives to the supermarket pump instead, where the same fuel is often 3 pence, a litre cheaper on top. Number 2. The brand new house. There is a smell to a new build, fresh paint, new carpet, untouched everything, and out in the home counties, a family will pay a small fortune for that smell, because a brand new home on a brand new estate feels like an achievement. But compare that new build to an almost identical house on the next road that was built in 2015. The brand new one commonly carries a premium of 10 to 15% over the older, near-identical home. And here is the cruel part. That premium is not equity. It is the new home's smell, and it evaporates the very moment the keys touch your palm. You drive it off the forecourt exactly like a new car, and a chunk of your deposit simply disappears into thin air. Real wealth does the opposite. Real wealth buys the depreciated bricks, the solid, settled house, a decade or so old, at the lower price, and then adds genuine value with a new kitchen, a knocked-through wall, a considered renovation. One family paid a premium for a feeling, the other built equity with a hammer. Only one of them is meaningfully wealthier in 10 years' time. Number 3. The main dealer stamp. We have a peculiar obsession in this country with the service book, not the servicing, the book, the little stamp from the official main dealer, as though a specific logo in a specific booklet proves we are serious, responsible owners. So we book the car into the franchise dealer and we pay for it. A full service at a main dealer commonly runs between £150 and £350. The very same work, done by a good independent specialist, typically costs between £80 and £200, routinely 30 to 50% less for identical labour, using parts drawn from the very same supply chains. Round it out, and you are handing over roughly a £300 luxury tax, not for better care, not for a safer car, for a particular stamp on a particular piece of paper. And here is the twist. The dealer will never volunteer. Under UK law, servicing at an independent VAT-registered garage does not void your manufacturer's warranty, so long as the schedule is followed and the correct parts are used. You are never buying protection. You are buying a logo. Number 4. The vegetable a machine cut for you. Walk into a Tesco or a Waitrose and look at the chilled aisle. There it is, the the bag of pre-chopped onions, the plastic pot of fruit salad, gleaming under the lights. Convenience, sold by the gram. Now run the numbers per kilo. A whole onion costs pennies. Chop that identical onion, drop it in a bag, and the price per kilo can leap by 400%. You are not paying for onion. The onion is nearly free. You are paying a machine and a plastic bag to do 10 minutes of work you could do yourself with a kitchen knife and a chopping board. That is the quiet arithmetic of it. Wealth is not hiding in some clever investment you have never heard of. Sometimes wealth is simply the 10 minutes you are willing to spend at your own kitchen counter, instead of paying a 400% premium to skip them. Number 5. The bottle you recognize from the television advert. Fairy liquid, the gold standard. The bottle your mother used, and her mother before her. It sits by the sink like a small green trophy of doing things properly. Here is what the independent testing actually finds. A bottle of Aldi's own washing up liquid costs around 62 pence. A bottle of Fairy, original costs about £1, and against the very cheapest supermarket-owned labels, you are paying 2 to 3 times as much for the same job. That is a marketing premium that can top 200%, and in which laboratory testing, several of those cheaper-owned brands clean just as many plates as the famous green bottle, some clean more. The surfactants doing the actual grease cutting are frequently near identical. So what, exactly, are you paying for? You are paying for recognition. You are paying because a jingle from 1960 is still humming somewhere in the back of your mind. That is not a cleaning cost. That is a marketing tax. And you volunteer for it, quietly, at the checkout every single week. Now, none of these 5 is a fortune on its own. That is the entire trick of it. £5 here, £300 there, 60 pence against £1. Individually, each one is nothing, which is exactly why every one of them survives. But add them up, stack the fuel, the bricks, the stamp, the chopped onion, and the branded bottle, and here is the moment that should stop you cold. The moment you walk through your own front door and do the sum honestly, you realize you are working around 3 hours of every single week. Real hours. The ones left over after income tax and national insurance, hours you will never get back, purely to pay for names. Not for quality, not for performance, not for a better life, for names. So let us do the one calculation the marketing departments pray you never do. Switch all 5, buy the ordinary petrol, buy the depreciated bricks, take the independent stamp, chop your own onion, pour the own brand bottle. Conservatively, doing all of that frees up around £280 a month. Now, instead of surrendering that money to names, you redirect it every single month into a low-cost global index fund, sheltered inside a stocks and shares ISA, where it grows entirely beyond the reach of HMRC. At a modest 7% average annual return, over 20 years, that quiet £280 a month grows into over £140,000. That is the mirror. On one side of the glass, a fridge full of branded bottles and a proud stamp in a service book. On the other side, over £140,000, enough to reshape a retirement, top up a SIP, or clear a serious chunk of a mortgage. Same money. 2 completely different lives. This was never about being cheap. It was never about denying yourself a single thing that genuinely makes your life better. It comes down to one idea, and one idea only: value over brand. The wealthy in this country are not wealthy because they earn dramatically more or work dramatically harder. Very often, they are wealthy because they learn to ignore the marketing noise, the jingles, the badges, the smell of a new build, the glow of a premium pump, and to look coldly and clearly at the mathematical reality of their own margin. Every pound you refuse to hand over for a name is a pound that stays on your side of the mirror. So this week, before you reach for the bottle you recognize, before you press the expensive button at the pump, ask the one question the wealthy never stop asking: am I buying quality here, or am I just buying a name? Because in 2026, the fastest pay rise in Britain isn't the one your boss gives you. It's the one you give yourself, one quiet decision at a time. If you learn something, like and hit subscribe. See you in the next one.